In this video we're going to be looking at the equilibrium price. The equilibrium price, as you can see on this graph, is the point at which demand is equal to supply. So the equilibrium price in this case would be 60 cents at a quantity of 2,000 apples per day. So we know that buyers want the lowest price and sellers want to sell at the highest price possible. And in a free market, so when the government does not intervene in the market, this problem is resolved and we get to the point where demand is equal to supply. There is one point where both buyers and sellers agree and are satisfied, and we will have no shortage or surplus. So the equilibrium price is where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. The market is cleared of any shortage or surplus and both buyers and sellers are happy. Equilibrium is the point that all free and competitive markets aim for and will achieve if there is no government intervention, assuming that it's a competitive market. Study tip is that the market is generally seen as the best way to achieve the market clearing prices, and if no central body, and when I say the term central body, I mean the government, it influences a market, then it should lead to the point where we have an equilibrium price and no shortages or surpluses develop. So here is an example of a graph, and I'm not going to get into price floors and price ceilings in this video. What I just want to show you quickly is what will happen in a market if we set the equilibrium price too high or the equilibrium price too low. So say this is the market for apples and they're selling for $4 a kilo. So we try and sell them for $4 a kilo. We're going to have supply here because there's going to be a lot of supply because it's a relatively high price, and demand is going to be at this point here. So if we sell at a price of $4 a kilo, we're going to have a surplus. Okay, we're going to have more supply than demand because the price is too high. Therefore, to get rid of that surplus, what do we need to do? Well, we need to lower the price. Lower the price will get rid of the surplus because it will cause two things. The lower price will cause demand to expand because we are now selling at a lower price. And it will cause supply to contract because there's less profits available in that industry. So if we start up a new business and sell apples for $4, we're going to get a surplus. So what do we need to do is we will lower the price to $3, and that will cause both a expansion in demand and a contraction in supply, and therefore we'll end up with the equilibrium price of $3. So the steps to achieve equilibrium, if we initially set the price too high, there'll be a surplus of supply over demand initially, and in this case there is a surplus of 2 units, so supply is here and demand at 0.4 and demand is at 0.2. The lower price reduces the incentive to produce, and some producers shift their resources to other areas, or there's a contraction in supply. Consumers are attracted by the lower price, so they increase their quantity demanded, and there's an expansion in demand, and the new lower equilibrium price is established. Explain the steps to get the equilibrium price. To get to the equilibrium price, if price is initially set below equilibrium. This is your challenge. Do it quickly. How did you go? So the steps in achieving equilibrium if the price is initially set below equilibrium. Well, first there's going to be a shortage. A shortage develops because demand will be higher than supply. The higher price, so we increase the price to get rid of the shortage. The higher price increases the incentive to produce. So suppliers shift resources into this area, or an expansion in supply. It also means that consumers will be detracted by the lower. If consumers are detracted, are detracted by the lower. I don't know what I'm going with there. Consumers are detracted by the higher price, so they decrease their quantity demanded, or there's a contraction in the demand curve. So that should say consumers are detracted by the higher price, so they decrease their quantity demanded, or a contraction in the demand curve. And we reach the new equilibrium point at the higher price. So I'll just show you what I mean by that on this graph. So if initially we sell at a price of $2, we're going to have demand at this point here at 4, and supply at this point here because we don't want to supply because of the lower price. That's going to cause a shortage of this amount here, or 2. Therefore we raise the price, and that causes a contraction in demand. We move up the demand, or move across the demand curve to the left, and it will cause an expansion in supply, or a movement up the supply curve, or the movement along the supply curve to the right, until we reach the new equilibrium price of $3. Okay. And at the higher price. So that's all I'm going to discuss in this video. All you need to be able to do is explain the process that if we initially set the market too high or too low. There's no shifts in this video. What we're going to do in the next video is discuss how we get back to equilibrium after a shift.